All right, welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Jen. It's good to see your shining face. How is vacation going?
It is going good. It is much needed. We have covered a lot of ground in the past 48 hours,
Yeah.
including pretty much every gigantic battlefield within Reading and Philadelphia. We've been to Valley Forge, we've been to Gettysburg.
There you go.
Evie is very tired.
Well, that's a lot of hiking and walking, unless you're driving it. And you really, to see some of that stuff, you have to get out of the car and go for a hike.
Yes, for sure. So, but it's been really good. Evie and I have been to Valley Forge before, but this is the first time we got to take Britton with us. So it was a lot of fun. And Evie and I went and shopped our minds out. So in all the
Nice.
amazing malls and outlets here. So it's been really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing nothing but getting to the end of the semester, and then I got really confused by something. So remember in the prelims this morning, they did the mixed relays,
Right.
right? And then tonight, I'm kind of like, okay, I know the mixed relays are not tonight, so we didn't see it.
Right.
Then on ESPN is like mixed relay sets world record, and I'm like, how did I miss it? Like, how did I miss that? So I click on it, 4x100 in track and field. And so I was like, oh, good. I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
But it said 4x100 mixed relay sets world record. Like,
That
oh my
actually
gosh.
has caught me a couple times. And the fact that like if I'm listening to it and they'll on the TV, they'll flip to track and then
Right.
I hear something and I'm like, wait, what? And it's track and not
Right.
swimming, but they're showing it in the middle of the swimming broadcast. So
Well, what they're doing is it's during the award ceremony,
right.
right? So they're filling it with something else.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have listened to swimmers swimming at 10,000.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. Anyways, let's dive into today, and we start with the 50 freestyle. All right. So what was your overall thoughts on the 50 freestyle and the results and how Dressel did?
I mean, obviously we know that he's got more in him. I was disappointed with all of the men. Like those times just are not, I mean, the winning time was 21:25.
Right.
Like I just at the Olympics, like I would have thought we were close to 20 by now.
Yeah.
I just didn't, that was, I mean, all overall, again, it was just slow. And, and it's hard to say that Dressel did a bad job because yeah, he obviously came in the place that he did, but I mean the winning time is 21:25 and Dressel went 21:6.
Right.
So it's not like it was like he tanked at all. I mean, I just think in a 50 it's always a shootout, but I think it was a slow shootout, honestly, for
Yes.
the Olympics and what we've seen. And so I was just kind of disappointed in all of it. And as I mean, because the France guy even getting in, right? Like, I think I read that was his fourth 50 free that he
He has a
medaled in.
four-time medaling in the 50 free.
Yeah,
He's the only man to do that. And
in
the
a row.
Manadoo family, it's him and his sister, have always been kind of like the best that France has ever put together.
Yeah.
And to go that long, go 16 years and still medal is
Yeah.
quite impressive. I don't think he expected it. It's kind of like Shornstom did, right? She didn't
Yeah.
expect to win the 100 freestyle. I don't think, I mean, he hopes so. He did this for France. He did
Yeah.
this to be part of having it in France.
Right.
And why not give it a shot? It's a 50 free. Dara Torres went for a 50 free. There's other people that are a little bit on the older side that have gone for 50 frees, maybe hundreds.
Yeah.
Just because you can get away with it a little bit more, and the training isn't as tough. Just like, I forget who it was, but one of them were talking about how they're doing less. Grosset, I think it was, is doing less workouts, and it's doing pretty well for him. Maybe it was McAvoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, McAvoy who was doing
Yeah.
it. But you, as sprinters, you don't have to work out as hard as a 200 person or a 400
Right.
person or an 800 person, just because the endurance is so quick there. I
Yeah.
mean, the only disappointment that I had with Dressel, and I'm sure he was, is that he went 21:58 to come in fifth, and he went 21:62, 61. I think he wanted to drop time.
Yeah.
At least be in the mix. And he was off the start, but he just couldn't pull it together. The other men were moving. I mean, they
Yeah.
were absolutely moving, but you're right. The times weren't nearly as good as what we were hoping to
Yeah.
see. And
Yeah.
again, we can blame that on the pool. We can blame that on a lot of different things. But again, if you look at the first day of the Tokyo games, everybody was off.
Right.
Everything was extremely slow, and then everybody kind of got into it. Now we're getting to the twilight of the competition. And some of these individuals are swimming relays and doing a lot of other events.
Yeah.
And so I think it's getting on the hard side, a lot of yardage, and I think everybody's just a little bit worn out. But yeah, I
Yep.
mean, just like the 50 free, we can get over it quickly and move on to the next event.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
women's 200 backstroke final. What did you think of that?
Our only medalist of the night.
That's crazy.
So there's that little nugget. But I mean, I think Reagan did really well. Again, I mean, she, her semifinal time, she was 208, which we knew that she was cruising, and 204.
Right.
Um, do again, I just felt like she definitely could have won that. You know, 203.73 was the winning time, and she was 204.2.
Right.
So
It's like me and
um
Josh talked about last night. I was like, you have to be under 205.
yeah,
You
so
got
I
to be
mean
under 205.
I think and Phoebe Bacon, like I really thought that she was gonna get that bronze. But I think with Reagan Smith, part of the problem again was because her and Kaylee, there was a swimmer in between them.
Yeah,
So, again, having that vision going into your last 50 of at least being able to look over a little bit and see,
where
the
everybody
person.
is.
Yeah, sometimes I think when it's that close, it's, that's a big deal. But, so it was probably one of the better races. But again, I think everybody was just disappointed. I know I felt disappointed. I thought she was going to get gold. And it just felt like the momentum at the end wasn't there for her to get her hand on the wall. But, you know, like you said, it's kind of like I feel like you can see the wear and tear on the athletes collectively, that they're getting to that point where they're they're
It's a little
tired.
bit tired.
Yes.
I mean, I what I was looking for was tempo. And
Yeah,
what I saw was in the semifinals, Bacon had a much up. She was much more upbeat, up tempo
definitely.
the entire time. And here she laid it out and almost tried to get easy speed on the first 100 and then kick it in, and she couldn't really kick it in. It's almost like she
Yeah,
needed to be grinding early on. There's a
right.
swimmer named Sheila Tormina who's the shortest Olympic gold medalist swimmer of all time. She was 5'3". She was on the women's 800 freestyle relay in 1996. And she and I were talking about it one time, and she said, I have to keep a high tempo and I can't slow down at all. If I slow down at all, I stretch out too much. And that's
Yeah,
how I get ahead. And it's almost like Bacon needed that just a little
yeah,
bit more. Smith had really good tempo. That's what I was watching for most of the time. And then McCowan just kind of kicked it in at the end.
he
And at
did.
the end, it was kind of just whoever had the energy left.
I mean, I swear, if we learn anything out of this Olympics, it better be that the whole, US national team from here on out is working on finishing.
Yes.
So that is my pet peeve that maybe we need to learn from Australia.
Yeah. I mean, it's an Aussie world tonight.
Yes, it
It
is.
was the whole Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oh boy, here they come. I mean,
Yeah,
you have McCowan. She gets her fourth gold
yeah,
medal. That's the most of any Aussie swimmer, individual gold of any
right.
Aussie swimmer, a women's
Mhm.
swimmer of all time. And then they had their first male swimmer get a gold tonight as well. And so, I
Yeah,
mean, with McAvoy. So, I mean, it's just they were on top of it there.
yeah,
And then Moss came in for Canada. She came in third, which is really good. But again, it's just that ending, it's just that tempo, but I thought they were strong races, and I was pretty happy. I mean, you got to race at some point, and
yeah,
McCowan's just on top of it right now, and
yeah,
she has something to prove, and she's in good form. All
for
right,
sure.
men's 200 IM final. Was there ever a shock there?
No,
The
absolutely.
time
I
was a
mean,
shock. I thought he was
what?
going to break the record. I kind of called that he was going to break the record.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised at his first 100, honestly.
How
Like,
aggressive it was.
yeah, I was very, very surprised how he took off. So my really cool story about this is one of my former swimmers, Anna, that swims at Virginia Tech. She actually is there.
Okay,
And she posted on Instagram literally when he got out of the pool from the 200 AM. She was like right behind the blocks and she got a picture of him
nice.
walking past her. And I was like, yes, that's so cool. Like, that's the best, like, part of the Olympics when like some of your kids get to have that experience. But anyway, now I'm telling Evie she needs to marry him. But but yeah, I mean, it was a really, really good race. And I was really hoping that Carson was gonna, I mean, it just the fly in the back, you could tell he already was kind of out of it.
Right.
And I was hoping if there was anything left when he came off a breast, he was going to be able to kick it in, but he just didn't have it underneath him. And I mean, fourth isn't bad.
It's a
Again,
tenth of a second. I mean, he's
right.
right
I
there.
mean, right. So it's nothing to be disappointed about by any means, but I definitely, again, felt like Americans are showing wear and tear worse than the rest of the nations. I feel like
Right.
they just seem like their speed and power is gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's something going on. Maybe it's a confidence issue. Maybe it's the difference between older swimmers and younger swimmers. Maybe they're not bonding well, or maybe it's just an off Olympics. I mean, that can absolutely happen. If you relate it to soccer,
Yeah,
back in what 2002, the men's soccer team, 2002, 2006 World Cup, whichever it was. I mean, we made it to the almost to the semifinals, and then we
right.
haven't sniffed it since.
Yeah,
So I mean, on the other hand, luckily we're on the inverse of that. We've had really great Olympics up until this one, and this is a little bit off. And I think that, honestly, U.S. swimming will take a look at every single decision they made. The
yep,
coaches will do a debrief, and they'll see if they can recognize anything that's changeable
yep.
based on what happened. That
Well,
could
and
be
again,
anywhere from the timing of the trials to the way that they travel to the way whatever they're going to look at it all.
and I love that you actually gave the example of soccer because if you haven't noticed what's going on right now, our men's
Yes.
team made a semi. I mean, we just got knocked out, but they haven't made that semifinal in forever.
Right.
And they made a semifinal.
And they
The
got crushed.
women, the women are killing it.
Yes,
Our
they are.
girls are back. And
But
it
they've
took
been struggling for how many years now?
exactly. And it took, this is the new generation finally. It's new blood, it's new coach. And, just like you said, I think a lot of these teams come to the Olympics and, they have these situations happen and then they go back and analyze it and are like, what do we got to do to reset? What missteps did we make? And so,
And and that, and again, it's not that somebody's made a misstep necessarily.
right.
Like they're going to inventory everything because the idea is from USA Swimming's point of view, how can we support them better?
Yep.
And even if we had a highly successful Olympics, they're going to go back and debrief and say, how can we support them better? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I just think that there's probably going to be something more here that we can correct, which will
Yeah.
look pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're in a Marchand world, and he is crushing it. 4 Olympic gold medals. No
Yep.
Olympic swimmer from France has ever had 4 medals anywhere along the way, and he did it in about what a fan of 3 or 4 days,
Yeah.
and just absolutely is looking amazing. And then if you ever get to go back and see the awards, everybody goes crazy. Everybody's singing the national anthem. And then you could see on this one, it's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, lock it down. I've done what I
Yeah.
needed to do. I'm a happy, happy camper.
Yeah. Well, and I highly recommend going and looking at the memes that have appeared of him and then Ryan Lochte in the background with Ryan like looking because Ryan those were Ryan's events and
Right.
like
Yes.
and there's these memes going around of Ryan Lochte in the back like peering over him.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
I still got you. I 6/100ths of a second.
Yes.
I still got it.
So I
You can
highly
have the
recommend
Olympic record. Just leave me the world record, please.
yes, yes. So all right, let's go on to semifinals. So we had 100 fly
Men's
next.
100 fly. Yes.
Yeah.
This was again, I mean, for
Mm,
Dressel, this was a disappointment, but again, it's only 30 minutes in between.
right.
And so what really started, I have a couple notes here. I said, is it a 30-minute difference? Was it the time off and he's not quite where he was before?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is USA Swimming? Is it accommodations? Is it just the feel of everything? I'm not sure what it is, but he didn't look good. And that's
No.
the thing that bothered me is like he looked strong, but he just wasn't pulling water and he just wasn't
Right.
getting there. And that's
Right.
kind of what I was looking at just to see how he was feeling. Because
Yeah.
again, he swam the 100 fly in the morning. He swam on the mixed medley relay. He had the 50 free final, and then he has the 100 fly 30 minutes later. That's a lot of swimming for a sprinter,
That
especially
is
if
a
you're really
hundred.
kind of cooking.
Yes, that is a whole lot of events for a sprinter. And I mean, I think the heartbreaking thing of that is that like when you're looking at the results, it literally says there July 2021 Tokyo, Olympic record, world record, Caleb
Right.
Dress. And, so that was 4 years ago. And
Right. And it's almost a second difference between what the top qualifier has and that world record. So the
yeah.
world record is going to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't foresee that Kristoff guy getting near 49.4.
Right.
That's so, I mean, again, like you said, I think this is just a time for the US to look at the how they lined events up and who they put in them and how this all occurred, because I think having Caleb Dressel do that many events on one of the final days,
Right.
of it, that's a lot for an older swimmer to accomplish. And
Yeah, but again, that's his choice.
yes, it
Right.
is.
Okay. Because we're going to go into the women's 200 IM in a second, and we're going to talk about this again with Alex Walsh.
Yeah.
She chose not to swim the 100 freestyle and be fresh for this event.
Yep.
And in some ways, each swimmer has to take stock of what they feel, how they're swimming, and what events they want to go into. And so he had to have come in going, I can perform well.
Right. I've got this.
I've got this. Like, I can at least make finals and put myself in a position because I finished top 2 in the US. So you
Right.
can't deny me what I'm doing here. And,
Right.
and I wouldn't at all. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm not saying he misstepped by any stretch. I love Caleb Dressel. I think he
Yeah.
makes wise decisions. He knows how his body is. It was just, I think it was a bad swim.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean? And I
sure.
think these other factors may have come into it as well. But if you interview him, he's going to just say, "No, I just had a bad swim, and that's the way it is."
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see once we're through, all of the swimming. And normally it takes about a week or two for it to come out of like what was actually going on behind
Right,
the scenes, and what was the reality, because we've seen the reports about the pool, and there's some people that are saying, oh no, it was reported and it got in swimmers' heads and it's not real. And
right,
and then there's other stuff about the Olympic Village and the nutrition and, all
right.
kinds of stuff going on. So it'll be really interesting to see, knowing these results, what was actually going on in the background, that may coincide with,
Well,
these things,
yeah. I
because
mean, it's the
you've
same
seen
thing.
other,
Ryan Lochte was talking to me about the Beijing Olympics, right? And so he goes into, I believe it was the Beijing Olympics, and he went in the 400 IM, and he just kind of faded.
yeah,
And the question, we were talking years later, and he goes, "Yeah, I just got a stomach bug. We were
yeah,
told not to use the sink to do anything, and I was using bottled water, and I brushed my teeth one time or something along those lines, and I was just sick that day. And then the rest of the Olympics, he did really well, but
yeah,
he was just sick that day. But that didn't come out to the end,
right,
right?
right,
And so there are going to be some things that are going to come out, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not. I don't want to say it's the world catching up because it's always this competitive.
yeah,
It comes down to
definitely,
the day, it comes down to the race, it comes down to the individual. Everybody's racing what they think they can win or they can do well in. And so this is the way it sometimes stacks out, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So let's go on to and finish with women's 2 a.m. So you kind of already led into it. What was your feeling about it?
I think Alex Walsh is killing it. And the main
Yeah,
reason is we're getting to the end, right? This is day 7. There's 9 days. So we have tomorrow prelims, we have tomorrow finals, we have a finals on the ninth day. She
yeah,
has not swum up until now. Maybe she's done
right,
relay work. I think they were hinting at that, but she did not do the 100 freestyle and gave that to
right,
somebody else so that she could be absolutely fresh for this event. And why
yeah,
why did she pick this event? That's the big question. Well, if you go back just 2 years ago, she's the world champion. And in
yeah,
Tokyo, she's the silver medalist.
yeah.
And I think she
It's
has
her
something to
event.
prove here, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's her event. Like, I never questioned whenever she chose to do this. I mean,
Right,
you could tell at trials this was her baby, this was her love. She wanted to make sure that, her and her sister are very different people. And I think this was like her, this is
right,
going to be mine. This is going to be my signature on it, you know. And I think I always think it's really interesting when, you look at the results here with the top three, that it's Alex Walsh, Summer McIntosh, and Kate Douglas, because
right,
I mean, we all know Summer McIntosh trains in the US. We
right.
know she's one of ours. And so, that I think that will end up being a battle. It's going to be interesting to see if Kate Douglas can, hold it together and what she's going to do in finals, because she's swam a lot, right? I
Yes.
mean, so we're going towards the end, and Kate's one of those that's had a lot of events. She's had a lot of hard events. So,
Well,
but
this is where Summer McIntosh is going to look at these splits and go, where can I pick it off?
yeah, yeah,
Because if you look at it, she goes out in 26.9 and Alex Walsh goes 27.1. So you're talking about 0.2 of a 25 hundredths of a second.
yep,
Then on the next one, Alex Walsh goes 0.63 slower. So now
Yep.
you're up by almost a second, but then you go 38.66 and Alex Walsh goes 36.70, and then
Right.
you basically you gain another 2/10 on her. So it's the breaststroke.
For the 90th time, breaststroke wins.
They win IM. They do.
We all
And
we
so
all know
you
it.
combine how much Summer has been swimming and how
Yep.
much Kate Douglas have been swimming, and then you throw on a breaststroker who's fresh and wants it.
Yep.
Now, I do think that Summer is still a favorite here, but I think
Well,
Alec Walsh has the firepower that she showed tonight, that if she can drop another second, a second and a half,
yeah.
nobody's going to touch her.
I agree. And I think, I mean, Summer McIntosh obviously has the youth, so we don't really know what she's going to be able to pull out of her back pocket.
Right.
But she also is, she's had a lot of events, whereas Alex hasn't, and she's rested, and, this is her go time. So I think
Yes.
the closing speed factor that we have been talking about is going to be a big deal. But also, I mean, with Kate Douglas, I wouldn't be surprised if she pulls this out to get the silver, because her and Alex, I mean, have been racing head to head
Right.
for the past 4 years in this event. They know how to go with each other, they know how to push each other. And so, I could see Kate Douglas with this lane set up, her, coming in and getting the silver. But it's going to be a lot harder for her, obviously, because same thing, she's had more events. So it's going to be that closing speed if she's able to pull it off, because she's not that far behind, Summer McIntosh.
Especially on the
Um,
50 breaststroke. It's a
yeah,
second difference there. So
yeah,
somebody's going to have to step up there. But if anybody goes, I mean, I'm calling it right now. You go under 206, you're a gold medalist.
yeah,
There might be two there, but you're
right.
going to have to go under 206. Nobody's going to go 206 and a little bit and some change and win it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be that's going to be the race of the night. I mean, besides the mixed relay, because that's fun to
Yeah.
watch. This is going to be the race of the
I'm
night.
really excited about these mixed relays.
I mean, last night. Our co-host Josh was with us. He's like, "Is that even a thing?" I was like, "Oh, Joshua, let me explain to you what's going on." So
Yeah.
at least he was asking the questions. So let's go over tomorrow what we have up. We have the women's 50 freestyle coming in, and that should be pretty good.
Yeah, a little scared on that.
What scares you about this? It's a splash and dash, right?
I know, but again, finishing speed. I'm really hoping that we find some finishing speed, because, like you said, I mean, a 50 is a splash and dash. Like, we need to get hands on the wall.
Right.
So,
Simone Manuel is going to be there,
yep,
and Gretchen Walsh is going to be there. Simone she's been on a couple of relays and stuff, but she needs to step up here.
yeah,
And I mean, they make semifinals.
right,
They might be on the outside looking in. Simone might be out there. And then Alex is, I mean, Gretchen, if she's not feeling too good, I mean, she's swum a lot too, right? But I
right,
think at this
right.
point, everybody's kind of grinded down. Now it's just kind of getting the pull and go. But they should be top 16, and then we'll see what they can do at finals.
Yep.
Men's mile,
Yay!
that's going to slow things down. So you go from the 50 free to the mile. That's a great combination right
Everyone
there.
make sure and count how many commercials they show.
Exact. Well, I mean, for prelims, they're going to show nothing. They're going to show nothing, but the mile on the last day is going to be one of those things that is going to be
Yep,
interesting. I think Bobby Fink is the favorite. There's
I
no
do
doubt
too.
about it, but it's only 3 seconds. Anything can happen there. We'll see what we do. And then we have the men's 100 medley relay. The U.S. is up by 2 seconds there. We'll be safe to get into. Now, that final is going to be on the 9th day. That's the
Yep,
last event historically for the Olympics. So if you're looking at the schedule for tomorrow night, it's men's 100 fly, women's 50 free, women's 200 medley, women's 800 freestyle, right? So we have Ledecky going after that with
yep,
Titmus right there, and then we have the mixed medley relay. And then on the last day, you're going to have the women's 50 free, the men's mile, and then the relays,
yeah,
the medley relays. So that should be
yep,
pretty good as
yep.
well. Yeah. So the
It's a
women.
exciting home stretch that we're
Yeah,
coming
so
in.
the men and women have the 400 freestyle relay, and we're up in both of those
Yep.
by a second or more. So it should be really good. Yeah, it should be great.
Hopefully they finish strong and find some of that finishing speed, and want to get their hand on the wall and get some more medals to get us back up there. So
Well, I mean,
let's
if you look at it, 50 free, I'm not sure about,
yeah,
right? But we should be getting medals, 2 medals in the women's 200 medley relay.
Right.
The women's mile, we should get a gold medal there.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're back on it. So that's those finals. The men's 100 butterfly, obviously, we don't have anybody in that. And then we have the mixed medley, and we look pretty good on the mixed medley. So we should get on the stand there. So there's medals to be had tomorrow. We'll just see how well we swim.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.